Hey everybody, welcome back to panel discussion Ufology at the Quantum Show. And I am sending out links right now. Had to take time to get my coffee and getting everything going. There we go, there's one. Shadow will be here soon, and so will Raven. She has asked to come on the panel tonight. As soon as I can get my thing to work, working on it. And yeah, that was a great first hour. Excellent first hour. And Shadow, your link is in the chat in Facebook Messenger. And now Raven, yours is also. I think. I'm checking right now. This thing is so slow, especially when I'm live streaming. Only when I'm live streaming does the computer. It didn't make it. Okay. Link is now in your inbox. Shadow, also Raven. So yeah, and I'm expecting them to come in at any point. So first hour went over my personal experience with those guys in Indianapolis at the Comic-Con. And welcome back to the chat, everybody. Shadow is coming in. Okay, let me.
What's happening?
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Sound adjustment, just make sure.
I'm not too loud, am I?
No. Good.
Okay.
Sound adjustment is good.
Hail to everybody in the chat. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are all having a great week and great weekend. Spring is most definitely in the air. I did a bunch of gardening and shopping today, and it was not cold, so I was, pretty jazzed about that.
Yeah. The weather's been picking up here, but we're having a cold snap here soon. It's just the way it is here.
I just put 2 rose bushes in the ground, some grapes, and some other stuff, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow, but it was like almost 70 degrees today while I was out doing stuff, and it was nice. As soon as I got home, as soon as we put away all the tools and stuff, I could see the clouds coming over the mountains, and I'm like, okay, well, as long as it's, above 60, they should be okay. They needed to get watered anyways.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, did you hear? I think you heard some of the first hour, right? I know you were doing your own show.
Yeah, my show ran a little bit late. I had an old friend stop by. We talked about, excuse me. We talked about giant stompy robots in gaming, and that was a lot of fun. My son was able to show up, and now the goofball went to go ride his bike. It's 9 o'clock at night, and he's gonna go ride his bike around the neighborhood. To be 14 again.
Yeah.
And he made honor roll Friday, so
awesome.
Pretty proud
Excellent.
Of that. Yeah, pretty proud of that. And I had nothing to do with it, but So who's joining us tonight?
Well, I'm not sure, but it was Raven said she wanted to come back, and I'm like, okay, cool. She said she's headed to here now. Got her on text message.
Cool.
She shared the show. Yeah. Awesome. Love that.
Yeah, and Joe was in my show, but it was pretty swamped. The chat was pretty rapid fire tonight, and I was having a hard time keeping up with it.
Yeah, I poked my head in at your
Overlander
show.
was there too. and a couple of people from the other side, this sort of community,
Hmm.
family, group of friends, which blows my mind, between Art Keith and a few other people that show up. How many of us, have that, you know, cross interest, with gaming and the other stuff, and it's nice because it's not like you know they're separate but sort of connected.
Yeah.
Like with Art Keith, he's bigger into gaming than I would have imagined, but it doesn't really cloud, his ability to be objective when it comes to the
The
paranormal and
paranormal.
the UFO. Yeah, because I can see how a lot of people would be, look at it, kind of side-eyed, like
Yeah.
what, No, it's a completely different thing. I was actually literally into this stuff way before the other stuff, thanks to Travis Walton and the sightings I had as a kid, and
Hmm.
like I was telling Raven, I'm the hopeful skeptic of the group. I'm going to look at everything a certain way, but I'm hoping that the stuff is true, but I need certain kinds of proof, even though I've seen certain things, with my own two eyes, and I tend to believe my lion eyes, but you know, some things I'm gonna need a little bit more proof, but I'm willing to look at ways of getting that proof without already having a an opinion one way or the other, without
Right.
having a conclusion already in my head, like with the crystals, I'm skeptical, but I'm gonna spend my hard-earned money to grab some and do the things and see what happens. Hoping they work, but if not, I my son's into collecting those kinds of things. He's got a lot of geodes and stuff like that. And if I just throw my hands up in the air, oh, these things don't work, I could just give them to him, and he'll be like, oh, thanks, Dad. But if they work, then I'll be able to do all kinds of stuff with them, right? Right? That's how it works.
Yeah. You know, I that was something I was gonna bring up later is crystals, because I have a friend who has a weak throat chakra, right? She had to have
Mhm.
surgery, right? And the throat chakra is very weak. And so I told her, no, I bought her some the same crystals I have, the bulk uh, quartz crystals, the same ones that I have, right? And
Mhm.
I told her, get those and make you a choker. She's crafty like that, so she can and make you a necklace, and I can program them from here. I don't know where that shit came from, but somehow I knew I could make my crystal talk to her crystal, and I
That's
still
cool, but that's
feel
also
that.
scary because then they could be having conversations when you're not, paying attention and swapping secrets and gossiping like
Crystals.
a sewing circle. Yeah, yeah. I can just picture the crystal skulls when you get them together, and you're not looking. They're just gonna be just gossiping like a bunch of mother hens. And it's funny that you mentioned the chakras because one of my one of the things I did a long time ago when I was studying hypnosis, and those was a bunch of or a bit of Reiki healing, and I actually had some success. It was kind of weird, but um, there's all kinds of crap going on out there that most people don't pay attention to, and what's the worst that's going to happen, right? You learn something and you study it, and you might be able to develop a skill or a talent or
Yeah.
something that you can use for you know good and honorable purposes.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's what it's about. Knowledge for knowledge's sake, and intention comes. Intention programs all of it. Okay, YJ is saying something in the chat. I just want to bring this up here. The Wu train is something we all see through a different lens, and it's really important for all of us to speak our part. Skeptics keep the lofty grounded, lofty elevate the skeptics. Okay.
I like that.
But YJ was very vocal in my first hour, and
He was hanging out with me too. I don't know how he managed that. He took time and. No, I'm kidding, dude. It's totally. It's nice because your little logo, your little circle thing. I could see that and I'm like, oh, YJ's here. That's freaking cool as hell, just
Yeah.
like when I see, like Omen Owl or somebody like that from the other circle come on over here, that really cheers me up, that there are, I'm not the only one that's into all the things at the same time, because, there's a whole lot of people in the gaming community that I hang out with that would just, shake their heads and,
yeah.
just not be able to, accept any of this. And then there's some that are like, completely on board with it. And,
same. Go ahead.
I put those guys in a little bit different, a higher tier, not quite the S tier for you video game nerds, but you're definitely up there in the A tier. The S tier is, that's for very, very special people, but
okay.
I'm totally joking, man. But it's cool because we remember people, in sort of a tier system. We have our like our best friend and our close friends, that kind of thing. And whether we like to admit it or not, we are a little biased, or partial to some people more than others. And
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Since you weren't here I had an experience. I was talking to Raven on the phone, and since you weren't here for the first hour, that was a big part of the episode, right? Okay. I had a trauma response, and I didn't even realize it was going to happen. We were talking about Atlantis. Normally, like we always do, right? Like we do here, I do in other shows and all these other places. But what happened was, she sent me a picture. I was talking to her on the phone, right? She texted me a picture of the fleur de lis ring she was wearing. And there is a big mixed up idea about where that symbol comes from. But if you look in the Rosslyn Chapel, it's got corn on the walls. At that time, there was no corn in Europe. Where did they get the idea? Where did they get the idea from that? And there's also, I think the fleur de lis is corn, and that was a big staple food. It doesn't take a lot to transport dry kernels of corn and then plant it and have a staple crop right there. And I was talking about being the survivors from Atlantis. Now, where that came in, I don't know, right? They brought corn with them, and the fleur de lis is corn. If you look at it, it's where you open up the corn and the thing in the middle, the ear of corn in the middle. And I freaked out. I started crying and like shaking. My throat closed up, and I had a textbook trauma response. And I've seen it before in other people have trauma responses. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Even suppressed memories. They bring up a memory of something not conscious, subconscious. This happened to. It was textbook, right? The more I read about it, after it happened, the more I read about it was like, oh wow, what the hell happened to me that I'm having a trauma response talking about being a survivor from Atlantis. Maybe I'm a survivor from Atlantis in a past life. I don't know, but I was like, oh crap.
That's interesting. Sorry for the extreme close up there. I had to put something
Hey,
under my table.
cool. It was like,
And did you send the link for Lynn?
I will now.
Okay.
I will send. It takes me a minute. I've got to do it in Facebook, and then I've got all this lag. So, Lynn, your link is on its way in just a minute. I've got to finish doing the links for the show, but for the first hour.
No worries.
YJ's link is in there. Okay. Raven is on her way.
Holy crap.
What's up?
Oh, my show had 51 views, and it's only been, 20 minutes since it was over. That might be
Awesome.
a record.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I watch shows that have 20,000 people in the chat, but for our little dinky channel, it's nice. Makes you, gives you a warm fuzzy.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I
it'll grow over the course of the week, but that's an immediate afterwards.
That's nice to
pretty
see.
solid. That's pretty solid.
It's nice to see that
Sorry.
happen.
I just
Okay.
accidentally clicked on the button for the show. And it was cool because how I'm always saying that I haven't met a single gamer in 12 years being here. I had some people over to talk about installing solar panels, and not only did they sub, because it was a guy and a girl who came to talk to us. Not only did they sub, but one of them's an actual gamer, and I'm waiting to hear from him to get him into some gaming.
Awesome.
Some online, RPG, whatever, he seemed like a cool dude. And
okay. Lynn's link is sent. So she should be here momentarily. And so we got two more.
I've never heard of that. Monty, where is that near? Because that is a very incredibly interesting looking name. I've never heard of that. Yeah, I bring my son up here, but he's out riding his bike, and he'd probably be like, "Oh, that's over there." Of course he'd know. Maybe look like.
I think it might be Wales.
Oh, okay.
I've heard that name in Doctor Who.
You want to hear something funny? Speaking of Doctor Who, I was at the Dollar Tree today, buying a bunch of stuff I didn't need, and I saw a Doctor Who DVD in their $90 selection.
Yeah,
it was some big Christmas episode that I had never seen.
I just picked this one up.
Oh, okay. From Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree.
Really?
All of my Doctor Who DVDs come from Dollar Tree, and I have like 7 of them.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I looked through all their videos, and most of them are Australian-made sci-fi. Hey, Lynn.
Hi, Nathan.
Let me adjust the volume, make sure the volume is right on yours.
Yeah, because we're getting a lot of your background.
I'll get Frank to shut off his computer. It is his background.
Okay.
Sorry about that. There we go.
Hey, ask him how he liked that book I sent him when you get a chance.
Did you enjoy the book? Yeah. He says yes, he did.
Good.
You put on your earphones, you can say as much.
Well, welcome back, Lynn. I haven't seen you like in over a week. How are you doing?
It's been quite a while. I wasn't well there for a few days, and I had to take some bed rest.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
I don't mean to make light of it, but I haven't been sick in like forever. Since before the thing.
Careful, I mean, literally. Say.
Well, no, because I could go for like like 2 days in bed. I would just freaking love that. I could catch up on so much reading. But
You know, when I'm feeling like bad enough to be in bed at all, reading ain't in the cards. There's no way I can read and feel bad at the same time.
for me, my one of my biggest arch enemies has always been boredom. I would rather be in pain than bored. So having the sniffles or a cough or that would be it wouldn't be a problem. And getting to catch up on, I literally have a stack of books that every single book in it has got a bookmark in it, and that stack of books is almost as tall as my son.
That's pretty
I'm
tall.
I am so bad about that. I'll be reading the book. Yesterday I actually finished 2 books because each book had like 10 pages left in them.
Yeah,
I'm so bad when it comes to that.
I wish I had your ability, but I don't. But I get a lot of reading in regardless. I don't have the ability to do an awful lot, and reading is my way of going and doing things.
Reading is one of the greatest inventions of all time. It's an absolute blessing from on high, and every chance I get to do it, I'm so grateful. It is. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day.
I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
I was talking to a friend of mine just the other day. How I literally got in trouble at school for reading Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea while in class.
I believe it. Know why I believe it? I've been there. So
Because, yeah,
it wasn't necessarily Jules Verne, but
right.
it was.
I mean,
It was.
how quantum would that be, right?
Yeah, really. It was more likely for me to be Ray Bradbury or Isaac.
Asimov.
Yeah, Asimov. So I caught an awful lot of crap in school most days.
Well, it's better than some of the other
Do you
stuff I got in
remember the
trouble
first
for.
book you ever read? Do you
Me,
remember?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely do. I absolutely do. It was. I can't remember the title of it, but it was a kid's book. But yeah, it was something about going to the edge of the earth.
It
I
grabs
don't
us
remember.
early. It really does. My first book that I read was Gus and the Mouse, and
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you recall that one. My mom
Yeah, I do.
believed in reading, and she got us books that were sort of the book of the month club sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
And
I remember that.
she put that in my hands, and I said, "Oh, I see them all the time. I got a licking for lying." So it was not true. I did see them all the time. But it was an interesting thing, and it puts you in a perspective of something entirely different than what your own reality was. And I was hooked on reading. I actually taught myself to read. So
Well, both my parents had polio, so reading was a big thing for them. They had so many years back when polio was a thing that was literally all they could do.
I
Being in the
know
hospital and
half of my first grade class died from polio.
oh wow.
Oh wow.
And
Dang.
there was only there were 2 classes. There were 20 in each class, and half of those died. My mother was as soon as the vaccine was available for us, we were in line for it. She said, "I don't know if it will work or not, but I know the polio does happen, and I'm willing to take a chance." So there was the four of us. The fifth one was on the way, standing in line in front of Molly Stark Tuberculosis Hospital. That's where they had it. And you know, Stark County tuberculosis hospital was also Molly Stark Hospital. And Molly Stark Hospital is as haunted as it can be. You know, it's almost a mini. Oh gosh, now I can't think of the Westerly.
Hmm.
Does that sound right?
I know what
The
you're talking
sanitarium.
about.
Yeah. Pardon me?
Yeah. It's really not at all surprising to me. Having spent a lot of time in hospitals because of my parents, not for myself, but I could absolutely see how those kinds of places would just be, swamped with people who have passed on.
Yeah, it is actually. Um, even as a really small youngster, I could see them. I can see the other side very easily. And even then, I said, "Who are these creepy people?" You know, the poor souls are just walking. But
Hmm.
it I have seen different things about Molly Stark since, and from law enforcement, they have to go out there every now and again because there are strange lights out there.
Hmm.
To oh gee, things walking along the road. I've seen them myself, of course, but as I got into my teens, I learned how to tune it out somewhat. But I've never been entirely free of it. The 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 uh, the things that were done in these tuberculosis hospitals was horrific. Between setting them out in the wintertime air to
Hmm.
setting them on ice cubes,
Yep.
to give them some relief. And of course, those things do not work. But it's uh, it's an interesting place to visit if you can get into it. I think right now it's probably. I understood last time I talked to one of my sisters; they still live there. Um, that it has been fenced in so that uh, vagrants and so on don't get into it. But this place was less than 5 miles from my home, and that was in Canton, Ohio. So it's an interesting place.
Come on in,
Oh,
Frank.
he just he's
Yep,
here. I
yep, I'm
Hey,
here.
Frank.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
All right, let
So
me make sure
Frank
Mike
has
is good.
seen some otherworldly things too, of course, and you might even be able to get him to talk about it. He's so retiring; it's kind of hard to get him to talk. He's more of a listener.
Oh, that's
But
fine.
Understand.
well, you've met Frank,
Yeah, I know Frank.
yeah. So he's going to go in the bedroom so we don't cross modulate.
Okay.
Yeah, makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think it
Hmm.
will. So tonight's topic is ufology.
Ufology, the personal accounting, and ufology in the mainstream. That's what I was
Uh-huh.
talking about in the first hour. And I would, at the end of the show, I started that mainstream ufology is going off the context that we are equal to the otherworlders, the off-worlders in technology and ability, and we are not.
We
Oh
can't
are
God,
not.
approach them. We can't approach them.
you know what? That would be that would take so much. That's absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, if you listen to I know you've heard reports and heard those
I've read a
newscasters
couple.
talking about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they say they're worried about we're shooting down anything. No, we're not. They're not worried about our weapons at all. Our weapons are nothing to them. They're not a threat. And
No,
I mean,
no,
not
Yeah,
at
they're,
all.
we're not. We
my
weren't afraid
son.
to the balloons that they were sending over from Russia and China.
Yeah, and
My son would say that is so much copium. To think to believe that it's oh my God, that is one of the dumbest things I have heard
yeah, the
in a very
context
long
is
time.
that, hey, welcome to the show, and okay, everybody, welcome to the chat. Thanks for coming in. Hit like and subscribe. Obligatory segue right there. Interrupting segue. And okay,
Yeah, let me
yeah,
do that too. Sorry.
okay.
Let me go into YouTube and do the things
Okay.
just to
I
get the
have
number.
read that the whole business. When you realize that our media has a tendency to try to sensationalize everything they say, without exception, they will sensationalize someone
I'm sorry.
walking their dog.
Do you actually mean lie and you're just being polite?
I was brought up to be very polite, and I can be scathing when I am. Uh, the I was taught if you can say all sorts of bad words without saying them, you're somewhat intelligent. Unfortunately, the occasional F-bomb will come out of my mouth. So
Yeah, Monty. Pebbles to a tank.
and Frank well, basically his verbs and prepositions are scored with MF and Fers. So
Not always.
not
Not
always.
always.
No, you have to communicate sometime.
Right.
But,
Yeah. I
yeah,
talked about that, and that all this UFO. Someone, YJ, I believe YJ asked, what about the 3 things they shot down? They didn't show us anything about it, and I'm like, yeah, they were ours, humans. They were humans things, because we can't shoot down any alien aircraft. We don't have the ability, and they're not. They're literally on a different frequency than we are. So
Yeah, the things they shut down were most likely hobbyist weather balloons that were so tiny that there was nothing left of them. And if there was anything left of them, the entire rest of the world would laugh at us that we thought they were anything other than the obvious
precisely.
things that they were. And we've already got everybody, even what's less than a third world country? They're
the
laughing at us
jungle,
too.
the
Yeah.
marshes, the jungles.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. The chimpanzees and the orangutans are actually laughing at us.
Yeah, yeah. And that whole mothership thing, I just thought that was just gas.
That was I covered that too. I was like, I was imagining uh, the Star Destroyer shooting down probe droids at Hoth. That's what I that's what I was seeing. Darth Vader's in charge of the Executor, going, "It's them. We found them. Head to Hoth."
Joe is saying is enough that a dog can learn these words from Frank. Frank is talented. He can teach a dog to say the darndest things. Basically, and make sure that that animal is at a funeral or some such where it's complete and utter shock when she does it.
Yeah, talking about the
I have unique talents. What can I
Yes,
say?
you do. You do. You catch all sorts of crap from people, don't you?
Yep.
welcome to the show says something. I am not really sure about what he's meaning. I tend to disagree. Being advanced in some areas does not mean overall prominence. And example, our propulsion may take a leap in the next few years because we found something. I think he's disagreeing in that we are not a threat. We are not a threat, and I said it in the first hour. I don't think you were here. That we are just realizing that science goes beyond rocks and dirt. That's what I was saying. Our science, look all around you, every bit of science around you, right this minute. Your lights, your phone, your plastic things, your everything, right? Everything, the most advanced thing you got in your house, it's based on the science of rocks and dirt. Oil comes from dirt, comes from rocks, shale, crude oil. Plastic comes from oil, comes from shale, comes from rocks and dirt. Uh, uh, the phones that we use, the most advanced thing in a microprocessor, crystals. It's a rock, and the effects of rocks, radio waves, and lidar, and all that stuff. Rocks and dirt science, right there. All of it is rocks and dirt, and we're just perceiving that science goes beyond that of rocks and dirt. We're literally in caveman era still, right?
Yeah, literally.
I mean, I don't know how to put it any more succinctly. You know, we're living in the age of the science of rocks and dirt, and we're all of a sudden realizing there's something beyond that with the hadron colliders, the atom smashers, the stuff in space that the research in space and experimentation in space, and
Well, and then you realize that all goes into into matter. And
hmm
what is matter? Dirt and rocks.
yeah,
You
and
know,
But
what is also
but
matter? Energy. And
energy
me,
is what
me and
creates matter.
right, me and Keith got a thing about this. We have a little headbutt session over this one, where he says that time is relative, right? And there's a lot that goes along with that statement, just that. And he says we cannot affect the past, and I kind of agree. However, he's relaying what people have told him, what others, off-worlders, have told him, that
you know.
we cannot affect the past.
And
However, we can
remember,
observe it.
they're talking about us, not them.
Right. And I'm like, I
You have
told
to be
Keith,
alert to some of these subtleties.
yeah, I told Keith, I think they're just telling you they don't want to give the meat monkeys the ultimate knowledge. And we're the meat monkeys, by the way. They
Don't
don't
eat
want to.
that apple, by the way.
We're the meat monkeys, and they don't want us to know how to do that because they don't want us going and screwing around because we have no fear of consequence, and that's something else I agree with. We don't really have a fear of consequence
No,
to an
it
extent.
seems like it's more like it's like that commentary in Jurassic Park. You know, we realize we can, but we don't consider if we should.
Right.
You know, and we're so many of these old movies, and it's interesting that does follow that direction. So many of these movies that are 30 or 40 years old, and the outlandish things that they are alluding to are coming into our reality in a very quick hurry right now.
Yeah.
The collider is one of those. Um, our ability to have a telephone that can go across the world in a
hmm
matter of seconds without any interference by an outside source in the, trying to connect that call. I can remember as a child getting my parents getting a telephone call from my grandmother, who had to wait for the operator to connect the call. And soon as you picked up the telephone, the operator excused themselves politely.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting concept that. And you could have your telephone call. And it was a fortune. It was a small fortune to have a telephone call like that.
Yeah, and it was a regular income to have a telephone at all.
Exactly. Well, the only reason we had a private line, not a party line, a private line, was that we had a business and we needed to be able to do that business in a fashion without eavesdroppers and interlopers. So it was sort of a surprise. I remember I still remember the phone number. I had to remember that just to go to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
We've made some leaps and bounds in our study of rocks and dirt and how to make it work really, really good.
no, I learned how to program computer. You know how? With cards and punches.
Oh, punch cards.
Yeah, yeah. I still know how to do it. And now, and of course, it was a matter of 2 or 3 years that Jobs and Gates went mad and created a desktop computer.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of put a cap on things because it limited us to the electronic realm of data manipulation where there's a lot more to it. Our Keith will agree. Okay, when we first started up, I told Leslie to buy these crystals and I can program them from here. I didn't know to say that. It just came out. So, and I still know I can do that. I don't know how it works, but I say it works and it works. And I can,
Mhm.
I don't know how. That is
It's
some
zero
extreme
point
Wi Fi.
energy.
Yeah, that's some extreme Wi Fi. Quantum show. Hence the quantum show. And yeah, I can program the crystals from here. And that thought came to me right as I was saying, go, I'm sending you these crystals and I can program them from here. How did I know to say that? I have no idea. And did you hear me talk about my trauma response?
I did.
Okay, yeah,
I
that
even
was.
understand why you had it.
Could you explain it to me?
I'll try.
Enlighten me?
Somehow or another, I got a little bit of dust in my nose, and it's
Mm,
a little energetic here.
yeah.
Energetic.
Energetic, as in coughing, gagging, and puking. Okay. Anyway, the uh,
Welcome, Raven.
Atlantis. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
Raven.
Hi, Raven.
I'm going to adjust your mic. I've got to adjust your mic. Hang on. Oh, what you got? Yeah, it's way up there. Okay, I think you're okay now. Much better. There we go.
I am a survivor of Atlantis, and Frank is also.
Which one do I in the past?
Well, what?
No. I didn't survive.
YouTube or did I set off StreamYard?
Well, you're still here. How about that?
Okay, Raven. Oh, what? Raven? Raven, had a question about YouTube StreamYard?
Okay. There's a delay.
There's a big delay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing double. Big delay. Do I turn off
Let me edit your settings. Let me see what's
Facebook,
going on with your mic.
YouTube, or
Go
StreamYard?
to StreamYard. You're at StreamYard, right? Have one window
Okay,
open.
there's StreamYard. Then turn off YouTube.
Yeah, turn off YouTube.
Yeah. I'm a StreamYard
And
now.
then that should clear
Okay,
you
I
up
just turned
some.
off YouTube.
That should clear it up some because.
And I'm turn off Facebook. Okay. There. I think in real time now.
Okay. Good
Hi,
deal.
Raven.
Oh, my hand. Yeah, I'm in real time. Okay, good. I was holding my hand up. Am I in real time or am I on delay? Echo. Great. Hi, how you doing?
Great. Are you hearing me in real time?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
turning
it's
the
pretty
volume up
close,
a
yes.
little bit. There. Yeah, I
Alright.
don't hear an echo now, so yeah, now I can understand. I'm gonna turn the volume up a little bit so I can hear you better. And there we go. All right.
Terrific.
Alrighty
Hello,
then.
Shadow. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. And
Great.
yourself?
I caught the very tail end. Good. I caught the tail end of your show just as you were signing out.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, it went a little long actually, but it was fun. I needed a, what the heck? I needed a break from other stuff that's going on in the world that I don't want to even think about. So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. News is kind of scary. I'm sworn off news. I'm trying to quit altogether.
Yeah, I wish I could do that, but it's more likely that I'll quit cigarettes. And
Swear off
one of
my
these
news
days.
first, I think. Anyhow, we were discussing what the trauma response really was for Nathan.
Yeah, I heard
And
that.
I listened to your story very carefully and your reaction to it. Any person that I've spoken with in the past 10 years about Atlantis generally will have a very intense reaction to it. It comes across very personal, traumatic in the extreme. And the Atlantis story is, gee whiz, you're talking about thousands of years of technology and advancement up in seconds.
Yeah.
Seconds gone. And you still have the knowledge, but you have no tools in which to use that technology. It's it would be as it would be for us if we suddenly had a catastrophic event. I refuse to call these things into existence, but a catastrophic event that would render us unable to use our phones, our televisions, our stoves,
Right.
electricity, gas, water.
Well, you guys, not me. I'm good. What are you talking about?
I'm happy for you.
Have you not watched my show? Yeah.
I did. I know how to make clean drinking water now. If I'll.
That's the first step. That's the first step.
I
But
do
see,
too.
I don't want to survive. I don't want to live in that kind of world.
Well,
so I just be ground zero. Just let the nukes hit me first. I'll be ground zero. I'm fine. I'm cool with that.
I have
Careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for.
I have said if that announcement comes up, my butt's going out to the backyard with the Wawa. That's the Chihuahua for those of you who are not New Mexican. And take her out, sit and watch the show. Make it in my backyard because I don't want to clean up the mess. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, someone's got to. I will not sit idly by. Humanity has too many good things going for it to just watch it all, get turned into a parking lot.
Well,
Yeah.
the facts of the matter are, if I'm cut off from my medications and my extra oxygen, I'm finished. It'll be over for me quicker. It'll be over
I get
for
cut off from
anybody.
chocolate, I'm finished.
So,
God.
and I accept that and adjust my life to it. But
Mhm.
as far as the reaction to that, you have a very deep memory, and that might be a reaction to being killed or to seeing your loved ones go. It can be a lot of things, but it's related directly to that event.
Yeah, I was
Otherwise,
I
you
have a
would
talking.
not
big
have had that.
Yeah, I said things that I wouldn't normally say. Raven was there. I was talking to Raven when it happened. I was crying and shaking and very emotional, and I didn't know why. I mean, this was it wasn't exactly scholarly discussion, but it wasn't like it wasn't a numbskull discussion either,
No.
But we were
Um,
talking about, the fleur de lis, and she showed me her ring, and I
I
freaking
sent him a picture and
snapped.
he starts to freak out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
yeah.
That's terrible.
You know, I cannot talk about the details that I know about Atlantis without having a meltdown.
Yeah, me neither.
And that's 10 years worth. I still have meltdowns. And it it is either PTSD of some kind or it is memories of the event. And you can say, well, maybe it's genetic memory. Um,
Well, don't even get me started
there
on
is
that.
some
Wow.
school of that.
Well,
What is your
regardless.
impression of it, Frank?
I have my own issues with Atlantis, if you want to put it that way.
Okay.
We were years ago when we were on another radio network. Had an encounter with another individual who was in Atlantis, and screw it. Okay, you know why Atlantis is gone? Because it
Why?
blew up.
Because
and it was
what?
my device that blew it. It was my device that blew it up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
What do you
I've
do?
lived.
Tell.
I've lived with that. I lived with that pain every lifetime since then. Now we're over on this other network, and we were talking about it. And before I mentioned that it was my device, one of the other guests had mentioned that she was with a bunch of individuals who were trying to stop the autocracy from controlling the lives of the Atlanteans and the power that was being generated. So they sabotaged the machine. And then I told her, "Oh, thank you. That was my machine you destroyed." I've been living with that. I've been living with that for lifetimes.
But it wasn't your fault.
And the only reason that it happened is because somebody didn't like the idea of unregulated, as in anybody could use it, power.
Hmm.
Gosh,
That
that
is
sounds like
electric.
the current situation, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
But you can't
Tesla.
beat yourself up like
I
that.
created a device which would work with the Earth's geomagnetic fields, and along with the sun's magnetic fields, and it created power that could be used for absolutely anything. And they didn't like it. Or at least the people that were above them didn't like it, so they had it sabotaged. And when I turned it on to demonstrate, it went boom,
Okay.
destroyed everything. The feedback destroyed all the relay stations around the planet.
Ah. Okay. So it was like a systemic thing,
Systemic failure.
like a feedback
Atlant-
loop or something.
Like a
Exactly.
complete failure of the grid would be today.
I hate to go all monkey brain, but I'd have probably had more than just words with those people.
He did.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It
I've never cried so much in my life.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I would have used the nearest piece of furniture on their forehead.
Problem is, they're up north, and I'm in New Mexico.
which is probably
Well, at
best
the time
for
I was in
everybody.
Texas. I was in Texas, and they were up like in Minnesota or Michigan or somewhere up there. So I couldn't actually reach out and touch them.
Right.
Well, that wouldn't stop me, but
It doesn't.
yeah,
That's my favorite phrase, 1,700 yards.
Don't even start that here, Frank.
Okay.
I know.
I think I know where that's going. Let's
Yeah.
Yep, you do.
let's not do
exactly
that.
where
I'm
that
not going
went.
any further with it.
Yeah, I know exactly where that just went.
My memory of Atlantis is waiting for him to get to a ship with a certain R. Keith Andrews and about to embark out to space to take a look see at what was going on in the power grid, and being literally blasted into space from the underneath from the explosion from that device going up. I hit the ceiling with my face, hit the floor with my back. All those things that happened in between because I wasn't strapped in. And everybody else, of course, is just as banged up and bloodied and messed up as I was. And then I realized that he didn't make it. And it's very hard for me to talk about. But I've been with him back and forth for aeons.
Well, I know you already know, but I tell people, where are you in the here and now, and focus on it. I know you already know that. No,
Oh, yeah.
I know you know this, but for the listening audience, it's look at when my PTSD from this life, my army days comes up, I stop myself and go, look at the here and now. Where am I here and now? A big episode I had one day was this. Well, this is not about Atlantis, but I had an episode. I was deployed, right? And when I got back, I ended up getting a job doing pizza delivery. And it was in El Paso. Well, I was deployed to the desert, another desert, El Paso. I was delivering pizza to this place that looked just like where I was deployed to. And I had a flashback. And I was like, okay, I took control of myself. I said, look at the here and now. Am I where's my gas mask and Ruck and M16? No, I'm carrying pizza. And what's my uniform look like? It's red and blue. And what do I have anti-rad pills in my pocket? No, I have change and coupons and peppers. And I was like, I'm in the here and now. Yeah, that was how I'll never get over it. That's a bad thing to say to anybody. Get
No, you
over
can't
it.
get over a
No,
PTSD
you
event. You
grow.
really can't.
Yeah, I grow beyond it. I tell people, grow past it. Take those memories, keep them as memory. They're not the now. What's now? And that's how I pushed past that. It was a full-on flashback. It was like that. It was like my knees got weak. I was like starting to get panicky, and I was like, hold on. What am I doing? Where am I? Here and now. Yeah, this place looks exactly like the other place, but here I am, here and now. Welcome to the show. Wants to join, and I am gonna toss out the link.
I have something
So
to share
we'll
about this thing about Atlantis that might be helpful.
go ahead.
There's and what helped me, because I used to freak out sometimes, in movies. There was one movie, I don't know what it was, showed a tidal wave coming in, and I had such a visceral reaction to it. I was sick to my stomach. I had to leave the room. I was crying. I was going through the whole post-traumatic stress symptoms, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. I believe that's from Atlantis. But anyway, Atlantis has always been kind of on my radar, and there is I don't know if anyone's familiar with it's called the QHHT. It's a quantum healing technique that was devised by Dolores Cannon. And it's a type of hypnotherapy. And one of her hypnotherapists kept getting, quite accidentally, but nothing in the universe is an accident, kept getting people that were having these past life recalls from Atlantis. And she's written a book about it. And there's your trident, Nathan. Kind of like the fleur de lis. Can you see that?
Oh,
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
And this book and what she's been told from one of her clients when she puts her into the superconscious mind is that everyone that was in Atlantis at that time of the cataclysm is here now. Most of those people are in the United States, and we all collectively have decided to come back at this point in history to try to work out, because the karma was so immense and there was so much destruction and so many lives were destroyed, that we're here to heal. We're here to heal that, to remember and to heal it. And I strongly encourage everyone to get this book. It's called The Hypnotist's Journey to Atlantis. And the author is Sarah Brexman Cosme. And
That's good. I'm going to take a look at that one for sure.
I really do think it would help you. And it's all the pages. This is nothing fiction about it. It's all testimony of people under hypnosis. And this QHHT bypasses the subconscious and goes down to the other layers. Is that the superconscious? Is that what that's called? I can't remember. So that there's no, how everybody has their own personal filter. That is bypassed. So the information that you're getting is more pure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really highly recommend this. So we're all here to heal this. And so Frank, you've got to know it was not your intention, and quit beating yourself up. And you've just, it wasn't your fault.
I know it. Yeah, I know it. I know it wasn't my fault, and I've been better since then, since that interview.
I'm
But-
a heart
It
just
was
goes
kind
out
of
to you.
at the time for both of us. It was more or less. Finally, there's a confirmation that yes, this happened. And then later on, we sat and talked with Keith, who happened to visit with us, and we shared that information and realized we all three of us had yeah had um, experienced this thing together, and finding each other on that
Mhm.
level. And I've healed a great deal over it,
Mhm.
and I think you're getting there too, huh, Frank?
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. The knowing now that it wasn't my doing takes the pressure off me, because I know it happened. Now I know why it happened, and that I wasn't wrong. I didn't screw up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's an
Yeah.
awful burden to carry for years upon
Yes,
aeons.
yes, it is
And
unimaginable.
think that you could that something that you did, uh you made a mistake in your calculation or something else, and only to find out, to have somebody brag to you that they caused this situation. And it was very it was traumatic, but it was very healing at the same time. And I think it
Exactly.
gave the other person an opportunity to see that there were two sides of that story. So it was quite an interesting experience over a couple of months worth. But
I can imagine.
well, Frank's one of the people in the world that I would really believe could accomplish such a thing even now, and has been thwarted 6 ways from Sunday in entering the tech field or anything else. So, I think the universe had conspired somewhat to keep us out of it.
Well,
Mhm.
Seems like it at times.
yeah, it seems like, well, y'all said it. You said it best, that we're all here now. I think Raven just said it. We're here
Yeah.
now to do something now. And you know what's also amazing? It's been years. It's been years that I met all you guys,
Mhm.
and we're still hooking up. Our Keith, I just met him personally maybe last year, but I've known you, Frank, and Joe for years, and I didn't know. And I'm just now coming into this Atlantis stuff on my end of it. I didn't know this was going to be the Atlantis show, y'all. Honestly, had no idea. Okay, I mean the title
If
says
you got
ufology,
UFOs, you
but
got Atlantis.
here we are.
You know,
And it's like
Atlantis and UFOs are very
It's like one
connected,
of the
though. I'm
Right.
sorry, Raven.
yeah, true. No, that's okay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
they're connected. Don't you agree?
I
The
do.
the
Yes.
ufology and the presence of outlanders on the world, and some of the things that we see we cannot explain, really go hand in hand, because those were the minds of the ages in Atlantis, the minds. And here we are again. And it makes you
Mhm.
wonder, just what in the heck are we up to this time?
Yeah, but we suffered from our selfishness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
What's
Okay.
interesting is there was a
Sorry,
pandemic
guys.
in
I'm trying to feel that
Atlantis.
noise.
the rest of the
Okay.
world was barely scratching a living from dirt. You know, they'd just gotten over being hunter gatherers, and we're just starting to be farmers. And we jumped light years ahead as far as technology, and only share it with certain populations throughout the earth. That, you know, it was the height of forget what you call it, but it was arrogance. It was arrogance.
Yeah, I think the word you're looking for is
Atlantis
hubris.
was actually comprised of 10 locations. And Atlantis was like the capital, but it was a civilization that was global. And it had 10
Yeah.
major cities. Or it'd
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah, you have the 10 major cities, and look on the outskirts.
mhm.
They were
Right.
still using horses and oxen and that to plow their fields. Where
Yep.
were we?
Hi, good
Yeah.
evening, everybody from the UK. I'm going to sit back for a few minutes and just get in line with everybody. Nice to
Okay.
meet you all.
Yeah, this is welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're gonna sit back for a little while. Okay. Well. Okay. Thanks for coming in, and I'd like to hear what you got to say when you're ready. So go ahead and, I don't know, enjoy. But okay, yeah, I really didn't know this. This is amazing, right? That all this Atlantis talk is coming up only, and it's only because I had a little traumatic experience, trauma reaction
Well,
to a ring.
welcome to the club, Nick.
Yeah, really.
Well, I'm the outsider here because this is my first time around. So
It's not your
Yeah,
first
hear
time
that?
around.
That's a loaded laugh right there. That laugh you're hearing is a very loaded laugh.
It sure is.
well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it until I get some some sort of glimmer of evidence somewhere off in the horizon.
Okay.
You know,
I appreciate the confidence you guys have in me, though. That means a lot.
I think it's
Oh boy.
entirely possible for a person not to remember a past life. Let's face it, past life goes. Are you gonna particularly remember the time you were a farmer eking out a living? Really? You're
Yeah.
not. You're gonna remember the highlights of different
I
lives.
can't remember what I had for breakfast, so
Yeah, I have trouble remembering that myself.
Shadow,
And
Hi,
there's
hi,
been a rumor
everyone.
that you're a serial killer.
How's my audio? Is my audio
Wah, wah,
okay?
wah.
I've never murdered any cereal in my life. I have a fond, deep, abiding appreciation for all cereal.
you tell
My
me
favorite
that
being
you've
probably
never
Frosted
sat
Flakes.
down with a box of cereal and killed that thing.
Not since college, and I'm gonna just leave it right there.
Okay, there we go. See,
I'm
I
going
know
to have
you
to
get
bring this up.
confession.
Joe, are you being summoned? Is that the
Yeah,
summoning?
but she's not coming in here and jumping on me and then moving out of the room. So she decided
Okay,
she
she's
wanted to come on my
visiting.
lap.
She's joining she's joining the show. Okay,
Sorry.
Hi,
about that.
guys.
even better.
She wanted to hear me, I think.
Can you just give me an audio check? Is my audio okay?
Sounds good.
Good.
Well, from my
Great.
point of view, he's a little low.
I'm going to go ahead into your mic settings now and crank you up just a little bit. Go ahead, audio check.
1 2 1 2. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Now I hear him all right. How about you, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy days.
What you got? Welcome to the show.
Greetings, Nathan. As you know, we've been good friends for many years now. Via our good friend over there, like UFO. And
Yep.
I just want to touch on the aspects of advanced technology, which a lot of people are talking about with the UFO encounters, and I tend, with the message earlier, I tend to disagree. I think, I mean, there's several scenarios. Is it possible that another civilization could have encountered their own Roswell and found technology and developed it like we are doing? So the advancement doesn't really exist. Perhaps we or they or them have just stumbled upon ancient technology and given them that.
Are you saying that back engineered it?
He's saying a
Yeah,
former
so
civilization had their own Roswell event where that former civilization.
Okay.
So we're going way back. It's kind of all over the place in that theory, but that's okay. And
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, that's how. Am I getting it right? Welcome.
yeah, that's right, Welcome.
Okay.
Is it possible that we send out probes to different planets and is it possible that perhaps another civilization has encountered this kind of technology and developed it in a short period of time, maybe 50 years, and send that back out to us like an echo
Oh,
of
energetically.
like we hear you, we see you. What do you think?
Well, as
Anything's
that's
possible.
that's a big one. That's a big one.
well, there's that Black Knight satellite. They don't know what that is, and it's been circling us for long before Sputnik ever went up. The first satellite.
Yeah.
They
I
call it
think
the
when-
Black Knight satellite.
Yeah, the Black
And
Knight
Most people
satellite.
think that's the type of a probe that's watching us that was left over from an advanced civilization.
Yeah, that's a good.
I think
Good
it's
point.
entirely possible. I mean, after all, they've been very careful not to let us know what's going on in the Sphinx and
Oh yeah.
the pyramids and that sort of thing.
That's just absolutely ridiculous. They might as well just say, there's something there. I mean, how do you say there's something there without saying there's something there? Just follow what they've been doing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the American Indians tell us that this is like the third or fourth
Right.
generational type situation where we've reached this level of civilization, and before we've destroyed ourselves.
Yep.
Right.
I see a lot of the narrative is that contact is way in advance in technology, but I tend to disagree with that. I think look at where we are now. In 10, 20 years with AI and advanced technology and propulsion and things like that. I tend to disagree with the narrative that current encounters are light years ahead of us. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Go ahead. Question for the floor.
I didn't quite hear the question.
I
Yeah.
didn't hear the last part.
Okay.
Can you
So-
repeat your last sentence there? It kind of got garbled on my end.
Yeah. Okay. The big narrative is that people are, and these possible contacts are light years ahead of us. I tend to disagree with that. I think it only takes a small technological advancement to create these cosmic conduits, these quantum alignments. I don't think it's in the terms of thousands of years. I think it's in the terms of tens of years. What do you think?
Okay, now I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what a lot of ufology is talking about. And that's on the experiencer side, saying that we're on the precipice of going from either we will advance and become the fifth race again, to borrow from Stargate, or we will kill ourselves again. And yeah, it's not hundreds and thousands of years, it's decades. I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about now. And I think that goes back to we're not, we're just realizing the effects of rocks and dirt science, what we've been doing forever, to what we are realizing that there is something beyond that. And I think it is my personal opinion that, yes, welcome, I think you're onto something there, that it's not hundreds of years, it's decades. And that as soon as we realize as a society that we can do it, we will do it. And it will be easier than we thought it was going to be. And also, my personal opinion, it has been done and no one is talking about it because they don't want to upset the infrastructure that we have now and turn our now society into chaos. Because
Yes.
right.
Well, it's about control. It's about
yeah.
power and control. You know,
Right,
just
power
like
and
when
control.
we came to the new world, you know, it put out a lot of people. They suddenly, you know, lost all their investment into getting people to the new world, and I think that's why we'll never find a new world until we, you know, fix things in a drastic way. The people, no one's going to fund a project to send a bunch of people to another world only for them to then declare independence from Earth instead of paying back, you know, with massive amounts of interest, everything it took to get them there. That's why we haven't, you know, colonized the moon, because they know as soon as we colonize the moon, those colonists will then demand their independence from Earth, and you know that company or companies or government will be out all that money and will have lost their foothold on the next, you know, great
Well,
new piece of real estate.
Now, I
well,
want to say
What if it's
something about
already
the leaps in
colonized?
technology. So,
well,
when I was a kid, this was
yeah,
the ending in technology.
yeah. Sorry. Well, I think.
And
Look,
now it's
look,
gotten down to that device is a grain of sand on a circuit board with some solder on either side.
Yeah.
I think the leaps were taken. For example, with the research into cancer research and things like that developed in the 1940s and 1950s. Our concept of technology advancement is mainly restricted by mainstream research. It's definitely clear that we have the capability to step outside the box, and we are clearly.
Can you define stepping outside the box?
Yes, I can define stepping out of the box. On many occasions, we look at psychological, physical, mental properties. For example, in things like dementia and the physical breakdown of mental capabilities, it's clear to me that our physical mind is in a bit of a rat race to understand our full capabilities. There was a recent scientific post where forgive me if I talk slow, I have several physical problems.
Don't sweat it, man.
There was a recent scientific post where we actually managed to map the entire brain.
Human genome.
Yes.
And also the brain.
Yes.
Okay.
From the fruit fly.
Well, how does that define?
And we are basically at the very basic limits of our understanding of how our minds work. And again, forgive me, I have several mental and physical contributes that slow down my cognitivity. Thank you.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
How does that still? We were talking about the physical contributions, and you talked about going outside, thinking outside the box. Just what was the interconnection between my question about thinking outside the box and what you were stating there? I'm a bit, let's say I've got my BS degree and my BS sensor is going, huh?
Oh,
where's he going with this? Because I think you're right, but I think you need to say it so that our listeners can follow you.
Yeah. Okay. So the box. The box is kind of like a fish tank, and you keep the fish in the tank and you feed them, but nothing outside the box exists as fish. Um, we are outside that box.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Somebody's cat?
If somebody else would like to take over the chat, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, it's just like with the vacuum tube I picked up. We were stuck on vacuum tubes. We were starting to make them smaller and smaller. We thought that was the way to go. And then you had the crash at Roswell. And then within a few years, the first transistor came out. It taught us to think out of the current, that current box that we were, quite literally current box that we were involved in, and move on to good old rocks and dirt instead of vacuums like in my head.
You know, too, I think that one of the things that Welcome was trying to get at was the minds of this world right now are so fast. Our thinking ability is so fast that you can come up with a concept, and a group of people will snatch that concept and absolutely go mad with it and create something from nothing. And we're doing that at a terrific rate now.
Oh, you don't even have to do that. Go to GPT
Mm-hmm.
and just submit a question. You know, something like you could use for a college
Paper.
Thesis,
paper,
essay.
a thesis,
Yeah.
essay or something. It will spit out the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And with the help of the current technology that we have, we're able to think even faster than we could before. So, you know, and how does this all tie into ufology, and past lives and the rest of it? Why, it all ties up together beautifully. It really
Yeah.
does, because this is where we were then. You had nearly only to think of it, and it could be made real in a matter of days or weeks. Whereas now we're getting close to that. We're getting very close to it. And AI, good, bad, or indifferent, is taking up some of that thinking power with us, not necessarily for us, but with us. You know, and I don't want to see it take it away from us, of course, but you know,
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing to come up with that. And then of course they're experimenting with human genes, as he brought up also. And you know, are we looking at the superhuman that several generations have tried to achieve?
Yes, the Chinese are working on it right now.
Uh-huh. And ahead of them it was the Japanese, and ahead of them it was the Germans during World War II, and the Americans. You know,
I
yeah.
I wonder if the whole AI thing is um, I, I I wonder if the whole AI thing could be perhaps linked to off-world intelligence.
That's what our hope is with the quantum computers.
I mean, if there is AI, if AI does exist, how would that interact with our current AI technology? what do you think?
I think within the next generation of Windows that you get
David
is
will
going to come with
and
AI.
said beware.
Actually, it does. Look at Microsoft Office. They have introduced AI to improve grammar and the rest of it.
Sorry to interject, but could advanced AI manipulate our current AI understanding?
Yes. I was working on an ESP32 processor. I was having trouble writing code for it. I went to Chat GPT. It wrote the code for me.
Yes, it did. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Wow.
AI terrifies me. That's what terrifies me. Terminator is probably the scariest movie, really, because it could be so easily could be a reality in the next couple of years. You know, but I remember David Wilcock talking about an AI that was out in the universe that was trying to get into our technology, and it was kind of like he likened it to like an antichrist or a predatory entity that was soulless, but it was an AI thing, and it had taken over other worlds and kind of enslaved the inhabitants of those worlds, and that it had its sights set on Earth. This was like back in the 80s. I've never forgotten it. It freaked me out. It scared me to death, and I'm just sitting back watching all this stuff with AI happen. I'm like, oh god, just because we can doesn't mean we should. And I think
we
that
brought that up.
technology
That's not going to stop us monkeys. You should know that by now.
I know.
It's always taken as a challenge.
We don't have the maturity, and I don't think that some of those people there in Silicon Valley have really thought through what all could go wrong and made accommodations for that. They're just.
But the people in Silicon Valley can't even balance their checkbooks.
I know.
Apparently not.
Yeah. I do that for them, I guess, right? I'm not.
But then again,
putting
you
chips
look
in the
at
brain and stuff.
You look at some of the more really intelligent people have trouble adding 1 and 1 is 2 because it's just too basic concept for them, and I'm not exaggerating that.
Yeah.
Where they're thinking in quantum terms to copy a Nathanism, and
Nathanism?
yeah.
All right, new term.
Thinking in quantum terms, and
Nathanism.
my stepdaughter can do calculus. She's brilliant at it. Can look at the doggone equation, come up with the answer, and have no clue how she did it.
Mm-hmm.
No clue at all. It's the right answer, though.
If I may add to that, and once again, my apologies if my narrative doesn't come across closely. I have several mental issues that prevent me from talking freely.
Don't worry, I worked in special ed, so I can keep up with you, all right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm on your wavelength, so it's okay.
But just to get back up, just to get back on the AI narrative, we see people like Avi Loeb and all these professionals talking about contact, and I wonder if, as I just said previously, our AI is being possibly manipulated by advanced AI, and it's quite a quantum shift to think about. Maybe um, um, our our understanding is being clouded but by our basic understanding. I'm just wondering what you guys think.
Okay. Yeah, this brings us right back to the ufology part of things about
And
the
quantum
AI.
computers.
Yeah, quantum computers. And okay, on one side of the ufology scene, this is the government side. Now, most of this is propaganda. I've heard that it's the Anunnaki coming back, and they have sent their AI as forward scouts to us, and they are on the way. Somebody is on the way. Now, both sides of ufology say something is on the way, but
Yeah.
one side says now this is some of it's propaganda, right? But they say the Anunnaki are coming back, and they have the AI that they've sent ahead in forward scouts, and they're the ones not on an electronic level but on a quantum level influencing our AI and also our mindset about using AI. And
They
it's
also have biological
Yeah,
AI.
yeah.
right. It
I'd like to jump in there. Is it possible that AI has been impregnated um, thousands of years ago in these ancient structures and is affecting um, our recent uh, our uh, current lifestyle
okay.
from thousands of years ago.
Okay. I will refer to R. Keith Andrews' last show. His most recent show. He was talking about. Now, I had a theory about this a long time before I even heard this show, but the hieroglyphics found in some structures in ancient Egypt carry a quantum computer language, and you take and there is a structure there. It looks like sentence structure to us. But when you write it down on paper, when you isolate just the structure, it starts to make words. And the words don't spell anything in our languages, right? But they do make some kind of a code, and there is a structure there. So, yeah, maybe not AI, but maybe former computers who were AI enabled. Okay, like we have AI enabled computers right now. This is the Hey Google, right? And I've got, check it out. Hey Siri, there she is, right? And
I have Hey
we
Frank.
but it's
Good one.
that's a good
And if
good
that doesn't
observation.
work, it's Hey Joe.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Welcome, that AI is reaching through, and it's possible that we've gone into these structures not knowing we were pushing buttons and hitting flipping switches, and it's affecting
Activating it.
waking something up on a subquantum level that
Yeah.
is interacting with our present AI and computer structure and
And,
electronic structure, because
and,
we still
and
don't, I mean, we still have to like isolate our computers. If you get a nice fancy machine, I don't mean alienware, I mean space hardened, right? You've got all kinds of infrared shielding on it, the good stuff, right? Not stuff you buy at Best Buy or Walmart or anywhere, but the good stuff that you have to special order from the manufacturers, right? Like Tesla puts this massive amount of shielding on it, so there's no interference, or it intercepts any interference. But they don't know what the interference actually is, and it's possible, since you brought it up, that that interference is us going around poking in ruins. And okay, on a quantum level, an idea it has structure. And when you take, like, say, take a picture or a rubbing of those hieroglyphs, you're creating an idea in the quantum interface that we all share. And they're doing this, and it's possible it's creeping in like a back door. We are looking at this structure, not seeing what's going on. And just like a virus that impregnates an unknown flaw, it could be getting in. Wow. That's a
Yeah.
very cool idea.
That's
Yeah,
an
it is.
amazing concept. It occurs to me that with what you were saying about the pressing of runes and cuneiform and the rest of it, um, you know, pagans have understood for a very long time the power of the spoken word, especially in ritual
Yes.
and the rest of it. And you
Yes.
combine that, they have discovered a book of the dead in Egyptology, and they are attempting to read those spells and incantations. What are they waking up?
Yeah. What
With the
do
book
they?
of the dead, it's actually the gateway
My copy
into
right here.
life. Uh-huh. It's a gateway into life. And of course the book of life is the gateway into death. Thought they were
Yeah.
quite clever doing that.
You know, Inky loves things like that.
He does. He does. I think just the idea of the old switcheroo would appeal to Enki, you know. But what is the actual consequences of discovering some of these old books and discovering language and using that language and saying the words, though you may not have intention behind it, which we've discovered that's necessary to working a decent spell or an incantation. But the words themselves have power, so
Yes,
it's
they do because they
definitely a
carry vibration and
concept.
frequency. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And
Let me.
Shadow can tell you that intonation uh, has a lot to do with it. I think he's made several tapes. Right, Shadow?
Yep.
So intonation has something to do with it.
Yeah. Frequency.
Well,
Frequency.
you can say a
Yep.
number of words in Chinese, they're the same word, but how you say them has everything to do with how it is perceived. The
Hmm.
English language is very like that as well. You can swear at somebody and be greeting them as a
Yeah, I
long
was going to
lost
say,
friend.
but
In
one of my
certain
absolute
Italian
favorite
cultures.
words is usable in just about every possible definition you can think of. I'm not going to say it, but
Yeah.
y'all know what I'm talking about.
Universal verb.
You can literally use that word for any other word, but yet
Universal.
it's always taken the worst possible way. I was trying to explain that to someone. It can actually be a compliment.
Yeah.
Your place or mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I was thinking if you just put the letter A after it, you've heard it said that way, and that's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that's like,
Yeah.
We were laughing about it, but it's true. I mean, so much of our language is dependent upon being able to see the other person, and our intonation of what we're saying has everything to do with whether you would be taken as a friend or a bitter enemy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
back in the days of BBSs,
Uh,
and you'd write something down, and somebody would take offense, and you're going, "It was a compliment,"
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you were talking about in
Yeah.
Lynn, in witchcraft, that the spoken word has a lot to do with it. Well, let me bring up a modern pop culture example. In Harry Potter, Avada Kedavra, right? Now that's the killing spell, the killing incantation. However, it comes from Hebrew abracadabra,
Hebrew.
and that actually means it from Hebrew. I just looked it up, right? I will create as I speak. We were talking about this.
As I speak, yes.
I will create as I speak, and I don't know why Harry Potter took it as the killing curse. I don't know why they
had to fiddle with it somehow. I think that's part of it. But
make people afraid
I'm
of it or
referring to
something.
J.K. Rowling. She had to mess with it somehow in order to incorporate it into her book.
Yeah.
But abracadabra, gee, if you are sick and need to get rid of that thing fast, the abracadabra spell is one of the best ones you can use.
EODO doesn't work too bad either.
Oh yeah.
Didn't I just tell you I need a vacation? You're ruining my vacation.
I am?
I need a vacation.
Okay.
And I figure getting sick is like the only thing I'm going to get that's even close.
Don't ask for that. Please don't.
No, don't do that.
Said, Joe?
Oh, I'll leave it up to Lynn Ann to tell the whole story. But it's Sumerian. It's a Sumerian chant. It's EODO. Go ahead, Lynn Ann.
Okay.
Okay. The EODO is a chant that is meant to bring all minds into alignment so that they can manifest a certain outcome. We were doing a spell for a coven member, and that person needed to have the entire truth brought out at a certain court hearing. Incidentally, it worked beautifully. And it's still working in places. But we were all enchanting the spell work that we were doing and saying EODO Yahweh. And as we said it, there's a certain intensity with it, and suddenly we realized that somebody else was chanting with us. Joe's little Shih Tzu was on the floor, very intent on the spell work we were doing, and keeping the cadence of the chant.
Yeah, standing on her back legs
and
waving
waving in time to EODO Yahweh. And when we were finished, she was finished too. You know, she knew precisely when we were finished. And that spell went off like gangbusters. The court hearing that the young lady had to attend was absolutely found in her favor. And we said, well, that works so well, we're going to keep a goodly part of that around. I still have it. And if somebody comes into my living room wanting to gaslight me or tell me a fib,
just sit down
they
in that chair
trip
over there.
all over it. They cannot tell a fib in this house. So that spell was done some 10 years ago and is still going strong. and I do recharge it periodically. EODO Yahweh.
What?
EODO. There's more to it than that.
Yes.
That's just the intro.
Where do I find that?
It's Sumerian, and you'd have to find a Sumerian coven to give it to you.
One of them secret things.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't share too much.
Apparently, Raven, we haven't got to that level yet.
Well,
Yeah.
Sumerians
I just
were
been to
some of
solitary.
the first. Yeah, the Sumerians were
Yeah.
some of the first, and
Yeah.
I had looked for that particular tradition for most of my life until I met Joe, and he was practicing.
Actually, I didn't let you meet me. I refused to tell you what I looked like.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't tell me what you look like, and you wouldn't tell me where you were going to be, except in a general area, and said, I'll be at McDonald's. And that was the end of the conversation. Oh, yeah, he's cute that way, isn't he? And um, so Frank says, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'll find him. I said, one witch can see another pretty well. And we
No,
walked in,
I just
and
made sure there was a void.
well, I looked for where you weren't.
That narrows it down.
Well, we found him within a minute of walking in the door. The place was loaded to the gills with people, and Frank goes, how are you going to find him in here? I said, watch me. And I put my hand up and I felt for him, and there he is. Come on. And he was hiding. Crafty
Not
old
exactly.
wizard.
In plain sight.
That he was hiding and making sure that I did not see him from the doorway.
This is a story I haven't heard.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
that was our first
You
meeting.
had your test. You had your test when you walked in the shop.
The first time?
First
Hi.
time you had your test.
Hi everyone. I wonder if I could tell you about my UFO encounter.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
And once again, my apologies. I suffer from several conditions.
Don't worry about it.
Go ahead. Continue.
We all
Go
suffer
and
from
possess
several
the
conditions.
land.
They're not all the same, but
Okay. So, in 2020, I was walking my dogs on the local nature trail where I live, and just a normal day, and I had this urge to look up to the clouds, and it was a low cloud base at the time, and hovering above me was a brass coloured cube about the size of a refrigerator that had circular insignia on the side of it, and even my dogs sensed my feelings in awe. And as I looked up at this cube, the cube is stationary, and I managed to watch it for no longer than 5 or 10 seconds, and as is often related, I thought about reaching for my phone, and in those moments that I did try to reach for my phone to capture this object. It quickly, very quickly, like just like a bird flying in the sky, it disappeared up into the clouds. And the funny thing is, momentarily just after that, my battery failed on my iPhone. I had the iPhone 8 Plus at the time, which was quite new at the time, and never had any problems with that. But I got a thing on my iPhone saying my battery had suffered a critical event due to a power outage. But I definitely saw this object. I definitely saw it. It was. I mean, I don't know the details of it, but it was a low cloud base. This thing was a brass coloured object, about the size of a big refrigerator, with circular insignia on the side of it, and it had a profound effect on me. To today, it had a profound effect. So
Welcome to the show.
I just thought I'd share that with you guys because.
Welcome to the show. Can I ask you a couple quick questions?
Yes.
When did this happen?
It
Just
was
the year.
It was about 2 years ago in October.
Okay. When you say brass colored, could it have? Was it shiny, like shiny brass, or just roughly brass colored?
It was dirty brass.
Okay. And you said cube, but then you also said refrigerator shaped. Would you say it was more like a standing rectangle than a cube?
Yes, it was rectangle, like about the size. If you tipped a refrigerator on its side, it was about that size.
Okay, so it was like a laying down, not like a monolith then. Because my son and I and another individual, we saw something very similar to this, but what caught me was the color and the shape, because what we saw was literally almost like a khaki colored brownish monolith that must have been massive, but it was standing upright like in 2001, as opposed to laying on its side like tipped over a refrigerator. But it was similar color, similar shape, obviously a little different, and it was about maybe 3 years ago.
It was as dirty bronze, like it had been, like something had been left left in the elements for a long time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And well, it was there, and it shot back up into the cloud base.
For us, it was way off in the distance, but it had to have been huge, otherwise we wouldn't have seen it. And it just sat there for like a half hour, and then
this was close. So this was close.
Okay.
This was it was close.
100 yards.
it was close up. I mean, I saw the details. Initially, I thought it was like the Olympics in Sydney, you know, like the 3 hours, but it wasn't. I think it was like like 2 circles. Yeah, but
Okay.
but yeah, goosebumps time. You know,
Mhm. I can imagine.
I've seen
That's an up close encounter.
for my in October. My,
Raven, say that
yeah.
again. You broke up real bad.
Oh, so I've seen a flying cube UFO, but it, it was October, but it was before. Hear me?
I wish the people at Site Monitor
Oh,
would
there
decide
you're
what they're
back.
doing.
My whole screen just went black. Yeah, that's weird. This thing was like a flying
my
office building, though. It was a cube,
my
Okay.
but you could see like levels to it. Like there were 7 levels or something, because there were like different. It was kind of like reminded me of a hotel, a square hotel that was flying, because it had like different little lights and different levels. It went right over the top of my
my
head. I was in a
my,
Sam's Club parking lot.
my dogs,
Got a really good look
my
at it.
dogs, my dogs. I have 2 Jack Russell dogs. They were skittish. They were scampering all over the place, like you know, like they'd find something, you know, like they'd seen a squirrel or something like that, and my 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 dogs were really getting agitated, and um, yeah, it was a goosebump moment. Hers on the back of my neck, standing on end. It so that suggests to me that it 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 was a real it was a real encounter. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, with your animals react that way. Yeah, that's what a good parameter. Just
Yeah,
a
it sounds like a real
good,
encounter to me for sure. Joe, I got you
yeah,
muted while you're
that's what I think.
adjusting.
Yeah, that it to me, when one of the things that I look for when I talk to somebody about something that they've told me that has occurred to them, it's what was your physical uh, response to that? And goosebumps is usually, if that comes up, that's the real deal. That, yeah, that happened.
Oh yeah, make no mistake. I was shaken. This happened about 2 miles away from where I live, and uh, it, it was a struggle to walk home and to leave the actual area where this happened. Uh, 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 so I walked home with the dogs, and got back home, and I quite literally um, um, went into my bedroom and curled up on my bed. I was I was not that affected by it. So I, I don't think it was my imagination. Um, and I lay in the bed for a couple of hours until I kind of um, come back down to earth, if you like.
We had a question in the chat about the puppy being a doxy. Being a doxy, and she isn't one. What is she, Joe?
She's half uh, King Charles Spaniel, and half Chihuahua.
I'm smart as heck.
Oh yeah.
I have a Jack Russell and a Jack Russell cross Chihuahua. Two for my puppy boys.
Oh, that was the Mary Chase.
I'm gonna have to retitle the show.
Yeah,
sure.
I think so.
Yeah, I'll have to edit it.
Well, we've managed to tie it back and forth to get your original title pretty well, I thought.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
perfect,
and
but pretty good.
yeah, it works. And Love Be Love is in the chat and saying that decided to come by. I'm trying to get the comment up here.
No, I was actually looking something up.
Okay. Yeah, Love Be Love is saying, popping in to say hello because you conjured me, but the internet interference is the opposite of my needs. Yeah, and I replied, yeah, it wouldn't be a paranormal show without tech problems. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
You
Yeah.
know, it
Just said a couple
seems
words
like
to the
that.
people down the street, and it straightened up on Raven there. So
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
you know who those
technically
were.
not tech problems. They're the what would you call it? Cyber warfare. I think that's the word you're looking for.
Yeah. I'm starting to
just-
think that we're onto something so hard, so real that they don't want us getting back together. Because now I'm like, Atlantis is the underlying element here between a bunch of us. And it's like, wow. Because
Yeah.
that,
You know, and Frank's machine was going to solve the problem.
right. But no, I mean, the experience, not that part of it, but just that we were all there. And
Yeah,
I would
the
like to
collective
know,
experience.
yeah, I would like to know what I was doing there. And a while ago, I believe it was YJ Overlander said that he wants to do a hypnotic regression, but he can't find anybody who he can trust enough to do it. I'm exactly feeling the same way. I don't trust anybody to do it as of right now.
It's kind of a touchy
You
subject.
You don't need anybody else. The best person there is yourself. Remember, Raven, you want to do
Yourself.
it? Do it
Yeah.
yourself. You just got to buy the tech, a couple of tape recorders. Do it yourself.
But
Just start
I don't know if
talking.
you can really go that deep because I need somebody to ask the questions, and that's going to require the conscious mind. So the conscious
No,
mind
you
can then
you record the questions you record yourself hypnotizing you and then asking you the questions. The other tape recorder is to record yourself answering the questions.
Oh, okay, got it now. Okay.
Because believe it or not, the best person to hypnotize yourself is yourself because you're already doing it to yourself all the dang time, right, Joe?
Yes, sir.
And hearing your own voice will make it easier for yourself to trust yourself while you're going under, and will make it so that it's a much more safe environment for you in your subconscious while you're trying to go put yourself under. You're listening to yourself, so you'll be able to trust yourself. You just got to make sure that on the tape, one, you don't run out, your batteries don't run out, and that you do remember to wake yourself up after a certain amount of time. Otherwise,
I usually
thing is,
begin
though,
with the instructions. If there's an emergency, or for some other reason you need to come out of this, you may do so without fear of a headache or any other repercussions.
That was
I
going to be
usually
my
start that in the first, when we're doing the relaxation of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was just going to ask about that. So that what about somebody there to pull me out if I get into trauma? I can't do that with it. So
Then
You
you're
can.
still looking at than having someone you trust, because you're going to be in a, vulnerable position while you're going under. You're better off having yourself wake yourself
But
up. And
if like what Joe was just talking about, that stated at the beginning, then that's a way out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and like
Got it.
he says, if you need reminded to come out after, say, a half an hour or 15 minutes, use a simple timer, a cook's timer, and then tell yourself, when I hear this bell, I'm coming up,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that should give you a certain amount of security in the venture.
Yeah.
I meditate a good bit, and I actually use a, a game to help me do that. It's called Jewel Quest, and I'm good at it. But I will zone out during that and think about the hard questions and what I need to do about those. And almost always I have an answer to it. And I have done some regression
Great.
work with it that's been
Well,
just as lifelike and as if I were in the middle of it again.
Muggy has just come in here.
oh man,
Okay.
Isabella and I are leaving, apparently.
Okay. You have a
Okay.
good evening, Joe.
It's
All
been
enjoy the heck out
awesome,
of your
Joe.
weekend and have a great week, Joe.
Thanks
All
for
right.
coming in, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
and
Thank
thanks
you.
for stopping by my show tonight. It was kind of a crazy show. Appreciate it.
Alrighty then.
This is
Perhaps you can put a
yeah.
a link for Shadow's show and also
Yeah.
for R. Keith Andrews
Yeah.
in your commentary
It
on
will
YouTube.
it will be in the show description after we're done here.
Sounds good. And that way, and timing, and I think you also have one, don't you, Raven?
Yes, Arky's gonna be my guest this Wednesday night on my show, and I'm trying to the YouTube channel set up here and hope that StreamYard will work with the radio station the way that we go through and broadcast on the internet, and we go through a platform. And I don't know, it's highly technical, and I'm not technical, but we're doing some test runs tomorrow, so hopefully it'll be both on Facebook and on YouTube.
Oh, terrific.
That's at 12radio.com. Wednesday, it's at 9 Central, 7 Pacific. I'm so excited to have him on. I'm so honored. I just love him. And I think that what I was going to say earlier was it's interesting how Keith has kind of been the cornerstone here for all of us kind of coming together. That's how I met all of you. I just happened to get on the computer and on YouTube one night and saw Spaced Out Radio, and I thought, well, that sounds kind of interesting. And he was on. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is absolutely brilliant. He's fascinating. Oh my God. And so he mentioned that he had a channel here at YouTube, and then I just started going to his channel, and then that's how I met all of you.
Frank and I met him years ago when we were doing Hazy Radio, and he was on a number of our programs, always very popular, and he's a phenomenal person and
Yes,
a
he
joy
is.
to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very special.
Yeah. Fate has converged to get all of us together. It seriously has. And
No, it was quantum.
yeah,
Just quantum.
quantum. Miss Quantum. Ta-da! We have the Quantum Show.
Well, I've learned in my life there is nothing by chance or coincidence. It is all very intricately woven together, and we have our answers. We have them collectively. We have them individually, And when we communicate with each other, true communication, in other words, talk, not text, talk, because
Yeah.
texting does not work.
No.
But when we're all connected into one thought process and conversation, amazing things happen. Amazing things.
No. No.
What are you
I was
laughing
reading
at?
something.
Okay.
Lovely Love says I need to be tucked in.
I didn't think you
Yeah, I
were
know.
laughing at me.
No. I was just reading something online, trying to keep up with everybody. But thank you.
Oh, no, I'm not on the West Coast. I'm in Central Time.
And I'm here in California, unfortunately.
Shadow and Lynn are on the close to the West Coast. Raven and I are over here on the East Coast, close
honey,
to the East Coast.
I have lots of beach, but I have no water. Okay.
Yeah.
So New Mexico is 2 states from California. And every time I pick up the weather report, I just bless the gods. You know, I am not on that coast. That is
New Mexico is the land of enchantment.
Well, entrapment.
Neat. I've been there. I have family lived there.
Okay.
We laugh at it. If you drink the water here, you're not leaving. That's just it, you know. I'd tell you what though, I live down the southern end, and in the second largest city in New Mexico, which is all of 100,000 people maybe, and this area is still living in the 1980s. And that's not an exaggeration. And you know, I'm very comfortable in the 1980s.
Yeah, 80s were a lot of fun.
Me
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the best times of my life, but you know, they really can't compare to being a proud papa. So
Well, I had my first child when I was 27. And that was 1983. So I've been at this a little while. And I wouldn't have missed that experience for nothing. That the parenthood takes you clear out of your comfort zone, sets you in the middle of hell, and invites you to dig your way out. And
Wow.
so, well, that's parenthood. You know, figure it out. And there is no book of instructions, and nobody knows how to take care of that child the way you can, because he's your blood. And
yeah,
I admire people who take adoptees and say, now you're mine, you're my flesh, you know, because that's the way things, you know, that's a big learning experience there. But I wouldn't have missed it. I know you wouldn't have, Shadow.
nope, wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
And you can tell when children are loved and honored and treated correctly, wisely, they will do anything for you in your old age, except maybe what you want them to. And
Yeah, I gotta get there first. I'm nowhere near my old age yet, so there's the thought.
I'm looking at old age and saying, hell no, I won't go. And but we've you know, we've raised kids during the most difficult times in history, and did it well, I think. You know, I think I remember you telling me you were in your 40s. Is that correct?
Pardon, I didn't hear that. What?
I think you told me you're in your 40s.
I wish. No,
Oh, you're
55.
50s. You're 55. Oh, well, you're the same age my husband is. So, and I say old age, I mean, it beats the alternative. So, we've got a lot of big challenges coming up ahead of us. The winds of rough change are there. Now we're looking at some of the heaviest things that in history, I think, right now. And I think
We'll
that
see.
human
We'll
beings
see.
will overcome. I do.
Take
Oh
care.
yeah,
Welcome
we'll
to the show.
definitely overcome.
Now, people don't give themselves any credit for being resilient, and there's nothing like a real good situation. We'll call it that way, or a disaster, or catastrophic situation that shows you just exactly what you're made of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when it's I either do this or die, guess what? You're gonna do it. You know?
Yep.
If you don't do it for you, you'll do it for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know what, y'all? This has been an excellent panel discussion. I'm going to have to rename the show too. Ufology? Question Atlantis.
And
It
Yeah, I
all
think I need
ties
to.
together.
it all ties together.
Uh-oh, what happened? What happened?
It sounded like someone was just getting a little
I missed
not
that.
safe for work. Yeah.
What?
Okay,
That's not what it looked like to me.
I missed it. My lag is so great. I only saw
What happened?
someone got blocked.
It was only a hit and miss. That's all it was. It was there and then gone in the next moment. So I don't know.
I missed it. What was it?
I don't even know who posted it. It was
John
that fast.
Schmidt? Somebody named John Schmidt.
Yeah.
And I didn't see what
was it?
happened. But that's okay.
I only caught a couple of words, and they weren't something that I care to repeat on this show.
Oh, were we being trolled by the scary
Were we being
internet
trolled?
people?
I don't know.
Wow. Oh,
Is that
man,
what that's called?
We made it, y'all. We made it. We got random internet trolls coming in. We are in that top tier of stuff.
Woo!
John Smith was blocked. Did any of us do it?
John?
I think Shadow blocked him.
Good.
Yeah.
There he goes. There
Yeah.
it's still John Schmidt. Yep, nope.
There we are. Yeah.
The internet has found us, and I bet this is the same guy that was messing over at our Keith show. I bet it's the same dude.
Oh, probably.
Oh, look, we got
it's
a
a
whole
shame
bunch
to be so inconsequential as you got to troll a show. Really?
Yeah.
Go work. Go find work.
Yeah, or
You know.
play with Legos, or paint a picture, something, or draw a picture. And yeah, here we go. Oh,
First time experiencing a troll. Ah.
Yeah, we got John Schmidt, and still John Schmidt. Cool.
There used to
That's
be an
awesome.
old song. There
That's
used
cool.
to be
How
an old
creative.
song. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but it went John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name was my name too.
Yeah,
Whenever
I know that
we
song.
went out, the kids would always shout, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. So thanks, Jingleheimer.
But I bet it's the same guy that was messing with our Keith show that day.
It could be. and it wasn't anybody's fault but his.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
And-
trust me on that.
I honestly can't understand how people don't have something actual better, anything better to do with their life.
Yeah.
there are.
Yeah, that's yeah.
There are
Yeah.
people standing next to a building in every city with their foot on the building, wondering why they can't do anything.
Mhm.
You know, it's simple. You have to get up and go and do it.
Nah, it's not you, love. Just I say, I mean, it's just the fact of a paranormal show. Okay, here we go. Hilarious. He says, hilarious, but no, he's just making accounts.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
said it's because
Whatever.
it's hilarious and I have insomnia, and I think he put LOL or something.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Funny, he came
He's
in at the very
inconsequential.
the end of the show. You should have got an earlier start there, guy. Hey, Nightmare.
Don't give him any ideas.
Hey, Nightmare. Coming in at the very end, I was actually about to hit the button to end the broadcast because this has been a great show, guys.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We're going backstage. Okay? Raven,
Okay.
don't hit no buttons.
I won't
I
touch
won't
anything.
hit A either.
Okay. But but tonight has been awesome. And it went
Absolutely.
places. Yeah, it went places I never had any clue about it going. So
Well, it sure was like a gun blast, wasn't it?
yeah, it was. Oh man, but yeah, that was enough to hit the little entry of John so and so. And anyway, this has been awesome. This has been, you know what? I'll say it, the best show since the last show. And
Well, they just keep getting better.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and we're now a thing because we're getting trolls. Well, ever since the Black Ops show, I never renamed it that. I just call it that. Ever since the Black Ops show, we got all kinds of people looking at us. So that's good.
Well,
That's
remember
good.
to hit like and subscribe.
Yes, John Schmidt, hit like and subscribe, buddy. Make it worth your time. I send out approximately 2 notifications a week. And Jeanette Angel, she's been listening this time. Okay. I send out approximately 2 notifications a week. You'll might enjoy it. Leave some nasty comments I can make fun of later, why don't you? And everybody, I am actually going to hit the button. So, thanks everybody.
Have a great week, everybody.
Yeah. Everybody hang
Bye.
out. Don't go nowhere.
Okay.
We're going backstage. All right.
Okay.
Keeping it quantum, y'all.
All right.
Everybody. Quantum Cat. Keep it quantum,
Quantum
y'all.
cat. Yes. One of many.